Okay, so we're gonna discuss the rationale for the multisensory introduction of a grapheme, and you saw me do that earlier today. We're gonna practice it too. We do that to use all the sensory pathways to reinforce weak memory patterns. These kids have some really weak working memory, and we want to strengthen all the sensory pathways, because the more ways you know something, the better you can recall that information. We've done that with all the multisensory things that we've done in your classrooms in kindergarten and first grade, right? Y'all remember doing it. Shut all the things. So we want to provide alternate channels through which a student can read, write, spell most English words, whether or not he has visual, a reliable visual recall. Remember, we said when we say rainbow, they'll see a rainbow and probably won't picture the word rainbow. So I said to my daughter, ask Lane what happens if you say the word rainbow. Does he see a picture? Does he see a rainbow, or does he see the word? And he said, "Oh no, I see a rainbow." So she said, "Okay, bird." So I see a bluebird. I'm like, he could describe the bird. Mm-hmm. So they don't have reliable recall. So we've got to give them a skill to be able to recognize words and to link. So we want to link all the properties of a letter to the student's memory. So what are those properties? The letter name, the letter sound, the way it feels. Number 4, we want to assure a student's automatic response to visual or auditory stimuli by oral, kinesthetic production of the grapheme's name, sound, shape, or feel. So we want to look at all those characteristics of a letter. We want to provide visual and auditory and oral clues that the student can use to unlock the name, sound, shape, or feel of a grapheme to address the demands of written language. So think about what we did when I say, what sound do you hear? What's the same? What is your mouth doing? Remember, so it's all of those things. And the 5th thing I went too far is to provide visual, auditory, and I said that already, and oral clues to unlock the name and the shape. So when we do this part, we're going to move down. You saw us move down to discovery and linkages on our clip. Okay, so the auditory discovery, that's how we first introduce a name, a word, or a grapheme. I'm sorry, not a word. We dictate a list of words, each of which contains the phonemes that we want the kids to discover. So that's the first part in the book. And then they echo each word after us, right? So is this all kind of sound familiar now? The students are asked to identify the common sound that they hear in each word. So repeat these words after me. Pat.
Pat.
Bat.
Bat.
Map.
Map.
What sound is the same in all of those words? Ah. The sound that you hear alike in all those words is the ah sound. So we want them to discover the sound. After the sound is isolated, after we do that, the students echo the sound and note what happens in their mouths as they repeat the sound to discover the name. So make the ah sound. Look at your mouth. What is the shape of your mouth? Is it something bigger smile? It's kind of a bigger smile. It is. What part of your mouth is working? It's a smile, right? Your mouth is just open. It's not blocked, is it? Then they're going to discover, is it open or blocked? Is it voiced or unvoiced? So say ah. Is that open or blocked? Open. It's open, a smile. Is it voiced? Put your hand on your neck. Is it voiced or unvoiced? It's voiced. You feel the vibration. You can feel your voice box working. You put your fingers on your ears. Make that ah sound. Can you hear it? Is it a loud sound or a quiet sound? The louder sound. So we know if it's a loud sound, it's voiced. we revisit the definition of the vowel sound, open and voiced, and discuss, we revisit the definition of a vowel sound. So a vowel sound, she says, is a vowel, it's open and voiced. And discover if it's a vowel sound or a consonant sound. So we say, okay, remember a vowel sound is open and voiced. So is a vowel or is it a consonant?
Okay.
It's a vowel because it's both open and it's voiced. The next part is the visual part. So you would write the words on the board. B-A-T, bat. M-A-P, map. And flag. L-A-G, flag. What do you notice that's the same in all those words? What letter is the same? Yes, the A is the same in all of those words. So they identify it then, right? And then this part, the therapist then reads the words aloud so the students can discover the sound that's made by the common grapheme. If needed, the grapheme label will then be discovered. So if they need it, bat, and they will. You'll say bat, map, bag. What letter is making that sound? They might need that scaffold. They may not. Alden didn't need that today. And some children won't. And then we do the visual kinesthetic discovery. The name of the grapheme is then identified and isolated. So, well, we've named it. The name of this letter is A. Well, I don't have that one because that's something I have up here. We name it. The name of this letter is A. Right. So I'm going to switch gears because I don't have the A up here. So let's say we did pet and pop. What's the same in all those? So the name of the letter is P. I'm very dependent on my teacher's manual. Very dependent. Once the letter name and label is discovered, then that's when we display that we show them the AR, this card, the ARD card. Show it to them. That's letter A or letter P. This is the letter P. And I tell them, because some of the letters look different than what they write or they're used to seeing. This is a textbook letter. This is what it looks like in a book. And then we do the visual kinesthetic discovery. And this is where we do our feelies and our riddle. So once it's the name and label is discovered and the ARD is displayed, and I will try to remember to bring that little thing I set it in. It's like a business card holder. You know what that looks like?
Yeah.
I just set it in there and it holds it up. Once it's discovered and displayed to the students are given the riddle and a feelie that leads them to discover the keyword and unlock the sound. Then once they know, say, oh, it's got a snout, it's got legs, and I've given them a clue, and then they'll say pig, and then we display that. That's right. The keyword is pig, and the sound is the letter P. And then so that's the discovery. And then we start linking that in to try to make that linkage for them in their memory. So these linkages are associations developed in language training between the students' visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile perception. So we're going to link all that together by seeing the letter name and naming it and saying it out loud and writing it on paper. The structured procedure for multisensory instruction of a letter is called the linkages. It's the precise steps of this procedure are 4 properties: the name, the shape, the sound, the feel of a letter, or a letter cluster, a graph, like a digraph, or a quadrigraph, or a trigraph, through the three major learning pathways, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Is that the same? Yeah, okay. Why is the name of the letter important? It is the only stable property about a letter. It does not change. Sound changes or can, not in every letter. The name of the letter never ever changes. It always stays the same. So it's the only stable property. And then the structured procedure. I just did this. Okay, I did. I went backwards. Great. Okay, now then it's the handwriting part. The handwriting linkage that connects the name of the letter or letter clusters with the shape and feel of that letter. It's the handwriting is another linkage for them. And I think she went. I'm not sure. I'm going to pause this. All right, so that linkage 1 is the handwriting linkage that connects the name of the letter or letter clusters with the shape and the feel of the letter. It's very important. To write the letter F in cursive, we would say curve way up, loop left, pull straight down, loop right, curve up, touch, and release. So that would look like this. Curve way up, loop left, pull straight down, loop right, touch, and release. We do cursive over print. F is a little bit trickier, but this is our baseline, right? And our midline, well, thereabouts. You don't even do that. Our midline and that other line, and then there's the, no, my bad. It's like that. So that's what our lines look like. So we would, and then we have these lines, right, on the paper. So we would, this is a swing up, loop left. So we're going to swing way up, loop left, pull straight down, loop right, and release. Do you see how that cursive on the print really helped? Wish they taught me that.
Me too. No, it's really fun.
It is really cool. It's very helpful. I think that would be good for them too. And then we stand and skywrite. We want them to use 2 fingers out instead of 1, because you can do that with 1, but it's just hard. It's harder with 2. And we want their arms stiff. Oh, and we want their hand on their memory muscle. And I forgot to have her do that. So we put her hand on her memory muscle and we swing way up, loop left, pull straight down, loop right, and release. Now, if you do it facing them, it's going to take some practice because you have to write it backwards. So, yeah, so I highly recommend turning away from them. I'm pretty good in print with it, not so good in cursive. I want you to turn into page 177 in your teacher binder under linkages and handwriting tab. Let me grab mine. $177. Yeah, so there is the linkage handwriting page. Ah, there it is. So we can, in that one, do you see how you could easily do cursive over print with that print L? Then I have them trace with the finger. So it's giving you your procedures. Then they come down and they trace with a pencil and make a copy beside that. Then you come over and you make a copy. Come down and make a copy. And then they put their pencil down, because then we're going to do the little card dance. You know, you see me do that. I'm going to give you the name of the letter. You give me the keyword and sound, which we'll go over that in a minute. And the bottom part Oh, number 7 is their verbal, into spelling response, written spelling response, and it's what we do in the ISD. So I'm gonna give you the name, I'm gonna give you the sound, you're gonna echo the sound. And then they name it and write it. Okay. It's a lot of things, isn't it? The next linkage is the reading linkage, and it's when they code some words that have that. You saw us code those, like there were, how many, like
There are probably like 4 or 5,
4 or 5.
3 on each row.
4 or 5 opportunities to code. That is not code and read. That is a linkage to the sound. Let me erase this.
That's one right there.
Here's one. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. So when we do this, we call it song and dance. We'll just practice it. Show you what it looks like. We do this 3 times. I'm going to give you the name of the letter. You give me the keyword and sound. P, 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 P. Now then, the next linkage, number 3, is the spelling linkage. I'm going to give you that connects the sound and the name of the letter for letter clusters. So I'm going to give you the sound and you give me the keyword and the name of the letter. So did you see how I did that? That's important because you're going to do that every day during the ISD deck. And that is just a visual cue of what's going on. They are looking and they know we're working on sounds. So this green card's like a little clue. I always do it 3 times. I guess, I don't know, I guess I learned that. Okay, linkage 4 puts it all together. This is the linkage that ties it all together with the name, the spelling, phonological awareness, the shape and the feel of each letter cluster that's introduced. So in this one, I'm going to say that this is what I say every time. The name of this letter is, the keyword and sound are. If I give you the sound, echo the sound, name the letter, and write it beside the last copy. That's a little tricky. It doesn't look that tricky, but when you first start doing it, you kind of get your cards kind of wonky. And then at the end, that last linkage is I show that mouth picture, which is in here. Here it is. I show the mouth picture and I say, this is a lip cover. And then I show where to put that on my sound chip. And I write the letter that makes that sound. I'm writing the sound. I'm not writing the letter. That's important, not so much now, but it will be later when there are lots of ways to spell. We are going to stop and we're going to practice.